We have been using curriculum for a while now during the school year, and I have a pretty good feel for if we have liked the curriculum or not and why. So today I am starting the first curriculum review of the season, and that is Build Your Library Level 6. Before we get started, welcome to this House of Walls. My name is Ashley, and on this channel I love to share all things books and homeschooling. Today is obviously homeschooling, and I'm really excited to talk about this curriculum. There's not a whole lot of videos out there, though people use it. There's just not, people aren't making the YouTube videos for it. So I thought we would just kind of go over how we are liking it, what some of the resources and books are that we are using, and how I set it up every day. So this is Build Your Library Level 6, American History Part 2. So this starts from Civil War on. And I will say we are not going to finish this curriculum this year. I put my 7th grader on this. I think we were like 10 weeks into the school year, and it was clear that we needed to change some things, and so this was it. So we will only get to probably, I don't know, week 20 or so. I haven't quite mapped it out yet, but that's kind of what I have planned, and we'll see if I need to get additional resources or not. So when you buy and Build Your Library, you get the PDF. And then there is an extensive book list that there are links on the website to Amazon to buy them. Sometimes if I get to a week and I'm like, oh, I don't have that one yet, I do just go onto Amazon because it's the fastest way to do it. But I am learning, because I am able to take time and prep other levels for next year. Used is best. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of resources. If you can buy used, go for it. It does come broken up like this, and you can download the sample and really look at it. So this is week 1. And so it lists the days and then the subjects and the books that will be used for that subject, and then what it is. And then the following pages, it goes into much more detail and has like extra information that could be used. You might use some links to some things, everything like that. Build Your Library covers a wide range of subjects. So for level 6, it covers history, poetry, literature, and so those are the books that you and your child will read aloud together. Readers, that's the book that your child will read on their own. Science, language arts, it covers like narration and dictation. We obviously add in extra language arts. Art, so it covers a ton. It brings in all kinds of amazing skills like narration and dictation, memorization, all those amazing things, using some fabulous secular resources. I will say we are not incorporating science. Just when I made the switch this year, we made the decision not to do science. My son is doing something else. I am planning on using science with my kids from Build Your Library for next year. And we've kind of stopped with the memorization. We definitely go over whatever passage or something is asking to be memorized, but we aren't actually memorizing it. Other than that, we are using this curriculum as it is laid out. There have been a couple books, especially at the beginning, where I had other books that we could read, and so I kind of incorporated those. Now, before we get onto the resources, I am going to show you quickly how I set up my son's work for the week. This curriculum here is really written to the teacher, and that's great, but I knew that my son would need something different. So he has this notebook. You can see he was incorporating History Quest at the beginning of the school year, so we just kept going. All right, so I will show you how I set up week 1. And so I just typed it out and I wrote week 1, day 1, and listed everything that he needed. I make sure to leave room for things that he needs room. Day 1, he also had to do a map, so I glued that in right after. So I continue that as the days progress. Day 5, he does have to write a summary. So I actually left an open space and he was able to write a summary on just the notebook pages. I have learned recently that having 1 page per day, it takes up a lot. So I've actually just kind of incorporated it and just keep typing it all out for all 5 days. So you can see here, this is week 14, day 1, and he has his work, and then week 14, day 2. And then again, if there's any kind of extra things, he's been doing all these presidential profile sheets, and so he can glue those in at the end of the week. So this seems to be really working for us. It does ask for some prep work from me, but that's okay. I kind of plan a whole month in advance of, okay, we have 4 weeks of school this month, so I need to go through 4 weeks of work and type it out. I don't know how that's going to work when I have 2 on this curriculum for next year, but we will see. And then I just have it handy in the front pocket here, and so every week I can go in and glue them in, because who knows, maybe he needs some extra pages of the notebook during that week, then he has that flexibility. Hi, cutting in with future Ashley here. So I realized that I talked about things like narration and dictation and stuff like that, but I didn't actually really show how I set that up. So I'm going to use, this is our week 15. This is what he'll be starting this coming week. We do dictation on day 1 and day 3, and it's just as a copy work. So here is what he will copy down. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, he does the actual dictation where I read the sentence out and he writes it. So here's day 1. He will do the copy work. Day 2, up here, he'll do the dictation. And then day 3, so here's another passage that he will do the copy work for, and it's always for our literature story that we are doing. Here is day 4, where again, he'll do the dictation for that passage. So it's going really well that way. And then on day 5, so a couple things differently happen on day 5. So he does his history, but then he also writes a summary. So right now I just have him picking a topic and writing an outline and a 4 to 8 sentence summary. So he can either do that down here or on one of the notebook pages. Then for his reader, he'll be finishing up his reader this week. He does a narration card. So these come with the curriculum, and I just cut them up and put them into here. And so he just picks one and does whatever is on that card. That is how we incorporate copy work, dictation, and narration. My only word of advice, and that I would change to this, and I am going to change it next year, is I'm going to use a different 5-star notebook that is meant for interactive notebooking, and it does not have perforated pages. There's a lot of paper in here, and some of these pages are getting weighed down and starting to tear out. We are getting towards the end of the school year. We're just going to make it work, though. All right, so now for all the books and resources. Like I said, it is an extensive list. I don't have all the books for this level. I am working on getting the books for the levels that my kids are going to use next school year. Even there, there's a couple of resources that I'm going to have to supplement differently, and that's fine. This is really just a menu of resources and books that you could use, and if you need to make changes, it's easy enough to do. So this is on the Build Your Library website, but here is the book list. So it's this page, and this page. It does have a list of documentaries that you can go and search for, and that's always fun. I love being able to incorporate more than just books into our learning. So let's go over them. Like I said, I don't have all of them. I have about up to week 20 for all of the different things, and then I don't have any of the science books, but I probably will one day get them. All right, so let's go through some of the history resources and books. So this is D.K. Smithsonian American History, a visual encyclopedia. We already had this. My kids will just pick this up and read it for fun. But this is such a wonderful resource of information. And they love these DK Smithsonian books. So this one is great. Then Two Miserable Presidents, The Amazing, Terrible, and Totally True Story of the Civil War. So this one, it's really kind of more chapter book, but I think that my son liked it. I will say he does these all on his own. We have learned that is his learning style, to just be independent, other than our literature read-alouds. So I haven't used these books. He has. And for the most part, I don't think there's any complaint. Then we have We Were There Too, Young People in U.S. History. So it just kind of a little bit more informative, but still with some pictures, lots of great information. This one I think is really cool. Words That Built a Nation, a young person's collection of historic American documents. And so you can really kind of dive into the documents, the writers of the documents, everything like that. Then we have Heart and Soul, A Story of America and African Americans. So lots of great information and pictures. So that one's a good one. An Indigenous Peoples History of the United States for Young People. So again, this one is pretty black and white, kind of more chapter booky, just black and white pictures. I do like that there's these little caption boxes of Did You Know, just for some little extra information. We have Red Cloud, A Lakota Story of War and Surrender. So more color, a little bit more pictures. Our Country's Presidents. So this is his main source that he uses for those presidential profile pages. And so whatever president he gets to at that time, he goes and reads about them and then uses it to fill out those worksheets. Which Way to the Wild West, everything your school book didn't tell you about America's westward expansion. So this is the same as Two Miserable Presidents. And so again, it's black and white, more chapter format. I think that he kind of likes these. What the Eagle Sees, Indigenous Stories of Rebellion and Renewal. So a little bit more color, pictures, information, all that great stuff. This is Our Land, A History of American Immigration. Color, but a lot of information in these sheets. A Different Mirror for Young People, A History of Multicultural America. So this is definitely more textbooky, black and white pictures, full of amazing information about different people. And then Wheels of Change, How Women Rode the Bicycle to Freedom with a Few Flat Tires Along the Way. This looks like a really cool resource. I don't know that he's gotten to this yet. He might be getting to it this coming week. But looks really cool. Other than that, there's only 3 books that I don't have for history. So I don't have The Great American Dust Bowl, Fred Korematsu Speaks Up, and Through My Eyes. Now for literature. So we did start off reading The Giver by Lois Lowry. I hadn't read this since I was my son's age, and I remember really, really liking it, and so it was really fun to do this as a read aloud with him. The Not So Boring Letters of Private Nobody. This, you're following a middle school boy who is really, really obsessed with especially the battles of the Civil War, but has a really great lesson as he's doing a project with somebody in his class that he doesn't want to be doing a project with, to try to understand the people behind the Civil War, not just the battles. I do think that so far this one is my favorite book that we've done aloud. It was funny and meaningful. It was really good. Then we have Sugar. This, you are following 10-year-old Sugar who lives on a plantation that grows sugar. Slavery has ended, but she's alone. Both of her parents were either sold or had died. And then the plantation owners hire Chinese men to come and work the fields with the African Americans that are left. And it was a really good story. I liked it. In the Footsteps of Crazy Horse, this, you are following a Lakota boy and his father as they follow the footsteps of Crazy Horse. This one was really good. Like the The story with the boy wasn't as meaty, but the parts with Crazy Horse and the flashbacks I really enjoyed. Prairie Lotus, this one, I didn't think I would like it as much. I really do, and I think that the author's note was fantastic to tie it all together, that what would happen if a Chinese American moved to the prairies during the same kind of time as Laura Ingalls Wilder, and how would her experiences differ and everything like that. I really liked it. Chasing Secrets, we have just started this. We still have quite a few tabs. I don't have a lot to say on it yet. I do believe that this one, there is a plague that comes to Chinatown and San Francisco and kind of everything that goes with that. When You Reach Me, so this looks like it will be about two middle school kids navigating their New York City neighborhood. Then Hattie Big Sky, so this follows a 16-year-old who has been moved around from relative to relative, and she takes it upon herself to not have that happen anymore, and so moves from Iowa to Montana all by herself, and kind of the struggles of that. Then Esperanza Rising, my copy is very beat up. I just actually found it in a little free library, and I don't know that we'll get to it this year, but that's okay. I am happy to have it on hand. Riches to Rags. Esperanza lives on her family's ranch in Mexico, and then something happens and they go from riches to rags. I've heard amazing things about this one. Now we are into the readers. So I don't have a lot to say about these because I haven't read them. It's just my son who's reading them. He is reading them, which is a major improvement from the beginning of the school year. I think just with ADHD, it was hard for him to want to pick up a book on his own, but having a scheduled reader that, guess what, you have to pick up a book and read it, he will do. So here's what we have so far. We have Hazardous Tales, The Underground Abductor. We have since gotten maybe 3 or 4 of more of these Hazardous Tales. They are graphic novels, and he really likes them. March Toward Thunder, a Native American perspective on the Civil War. Prairie Thief, Dragon's Gate, Chickadee. This one is his current read, and that is Stargazing, so he'll finish it up this week. And again, it's a graphic novel. Letters from Rivka, and Immigrant Kids. This one will be kind of interesting. When I was pulling them all out and sorting them, I was confused that this wasn't a history book, because it very much so looks like one, but I think this will be kind of a good change of pace for his normal readers, and probably just so much great information. Now moving on to poetry. So this year does incorporate 3 different poetry books, and they're fantastic. We have used them other times as well. Like I've pulled some of them out and used them with my younger son. So we have Poetry for Young People, Edgar Allan Poe. I think that my only complaint in this one is some of the poems are just like parts of it. So from The Pit and the Pendulum. And I'm kind of okay that if he were to read the whole thing, like Fall of the House of Usher. Obviously this is a more like short story kind of thing, but that has been good. Langston Hughes. That's kind of the same setup. I love these drawings. And then Maya Angelou. So that's a good one. And then for art, he has been working out of Great American Artists for Kids. And so this one is really good because it will have information about the artist and then a project that they can do. I'm not a big stickler. If he wants to do the project, great. If not, that's fine. Just learn something, be exposed to different art. That is my main goal. All right, that is all the resources that I have. Like I said, there are more. I didn't say it before, but for our literature books, our read-alouds, there are still 4 books that I don't have. For the readers, there's still 9 books that we don't have, and then we don't have any of the science books. So overall, I don't know that we have any complaints. Maybe one of sometimes some of the pages on the guide will be off just a little bit, but it's easy enough for him to go, wait, why are we learning about the 1920s, but I'm still like in the 1880s, and so I can go in and figure that out. So I think that's just kind of like an editing thing, not that big of a deal. And we love it. It has become one of his easiest subjects to pick up and do. I will say the literature is definitely a little bit more harder for us to sit down together and do because he's used to so much independent work now. But it's a good time for us to make for each other and sit down, and usually we're like, you know, on the sofa or on a bed and just kind of snuggle and read a book together. We do love this curriculum so much. Yes, my kids are going to be using it next year, and I will talk more about that in future videos. And then I think that's kind of it. So let me know down below if you have any questions or want a little bit more information about anything, and I will be happy to answer that. As always, if you like these types of videos or anything else that I post here on the channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.